Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here's your weekly market report. Before I get on to that, sorry I missed you guys last Tuesday and Wednesday. I had the great opportunity to go to Fenway Park, the historical Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, with my son and my grandson. What a trip. You know, we've got a boy from Okeechobee, Cutter Crawford, that plays for the Red Sox. And it was a good excuse and a good reason to go, and man, we had a great time. The Red Sox weren't very happy because the Braves won both games, but I wasn't here last week, but it was for a good reason. We're back this week, and we had another really big week here at Okeechobee. Like we've been saying, cattle are moving, and a lot of shipping going on everywhere, and big runs. We had close to 1,300 head Monday, and a little over 1,600 head Tuesday for right around that 3,000 head mark. Prices were dramatically higher. Just the feel of the calf market, the feeder calf prices were just really good. For one reason, we're seeing a lot of really good quality calves come in. We had Okevac calves. Okevac is a program we came up with a few years back where people can identify their calves if they're on a good health program. Okevac is these calves have had at least one round of shots, and some of them have had 2 rounds of shots, and they qualify for to get the tag in their ear, the Okevac tag, and it's becoming very recognizable, and buyers see that tag, they know these calves are on a good health program. Anyway, we had a big move of Okevac calves this week. Dwayne House there from Goodnoe Ranch brought in some really good calves. There were over 100 head of those, and Saboni Ranch, Ray and Tish Luke brought in some Okevac calves. There were over 100 head of those. We had 4 Winds, John Stanley, and our own Heritage, Sarah Raymer. I think that's all the Okevac calves, but they were probably close to 300 head, and man, they sold good. This market was on fire this week. The lighter weight calves really picked up too. You know, those 3 and 4 weight calves had been not bringing a whole lot more per pound than the 5 or 6 weight calves, but they kind of bounced on up there. So there's some grass somewhere where they're putting these lighter calves on grass, and the demand has picked up. There's more orders on the floor, a lot of buyer activity, and just a lot of good cattle. So it was a lot of fun being here watching those good cattle sell. You know, we've got other kind of cattle too. You know, we've got Corrientes and you name it, Holstein cross calves and all kinds, but it's really good to see those number 1 front end calves come through the ring, because a lot of times we don't get the very front end cattle. And when you see these calves, these 600-pound calves bringing up there over $900, some of them bringing $1,000, it's pretty exciting. And Scott Wells sold some calves. They weren't Okevac, but they were good quality both days, and he was tickled to death with what his calves brought, and I'm sure some of them brought $1,000 or right around it. Anyway, it was just a very good market, and we've been talking about how these prices are going to come up just simply on fundamentals. Inventory's down. Meat movement is really good. A little bit of news I did hear was China banned all imports from Australia and New Zealand. And they do import a lot of meat, and they do import a lot of meat from the U.S., but having banned Australia and New Zealand, that may even help us a little more. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but the board was up pretty good bit Monday and Tuesday on that news, but just simply there's just not as many cattle. Feedlots are current. Packers are selling meat like crazy. Boxed beef prices are holding their own real good. Usually this time of year in the doldrums of summer, that price usually falls down to the lowest it'll be of the whole year in the summertime, but that hadn't happened. So fundamentally, this thing is looking like it's going to take off. I mean, we're seeing cattle, even your big fat feeder steers out there, feeder steers coming off of grass that are weighing over 800 pounds are bringing up there around $1.80 out west, and it's just great. Of course, we've got to deal with the freight problems down here, and it's costing $100 a head to move cattle from Florida to the panhandle of Texas or Kansas where the feedlots are. So we're paying about 20 cents a pound just on freight to get them from here out there, or the buyers are. We're not paying it, but they take it off the front end. They take it off when they buy the calves. So these 5-weight calves are now bringing up there around 170, 75, pushing to 180. And I'm telling you, somewhere down the road, we're going to see those 5-weight calves bringing $2. At least I think we will. And we're seeing a lot of 6-weight calves bringing $1.60 or better. And so I think things are going to be looking on up and looking pretty good. And it's unbelievable being in August, the middle of August, to see the grass conditions. We don't have a lot of water, which is kind of scary a little bit in Florida to not have pastures that are underwater in August in the middle of the summer, but there's no mosquitoes. Cattle are gaining weight and conditions are excellent for cattle. And I'm sure we'll get that rain sometime, hopefully, later on. We are in hurricane season, and we're supposed to be in the wet part of the year. It hadn't happened yet, but it'll probably come. Cow prices, slaughter classes were fully steady, probably a little higher, maybe a couple bucks, $2 or $3 higher. We had some cows bringing in the 80s pretty regular, and big slaughter bulls were bringing well over $1. So everything's looking pretty good there. We do appreciate you guys bringing those front end calves in here, and I like to see those buyers fighting over them. And that's the whole point of having a livestock market, competitive bidding, and you're going to get top dollar on those front end calves for sure. So on the high prices for the week, we had a calf is just kind of unusual for a calf this size, a 305-pound calf in the 300-pound range, topped the market. Usually it's a little 200 and something pound calf that somebody's buying for roping calves, usually tops the market, but not here. This is a 305-pound calf that brought $2.25. That calf was brought in by a 36-bar ranch in Lake Placid, and it was bought by Cracker. On the cow side, I mentioned Scott Wells. He had some really good calves, but evidently he had a good slaughter cow. She weighed 1,455 pounds and brought $93.50. Cow was bought by Florida Beef. That's your market report. We appreciate your business. We'll see you next week.